Yo, 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 yo. First day back. First day back on the stream. Let's freaking go. Amazon.com. Amazon.com. I don't know. Can I put out like notifications? People are saying to me that they like miss the stream because they don't even see that I'm on. Like they don't know. But am I able to put out notifications for people to see? Oh. I don't even know if it's possible. Is it possible for me to do that? Is what I would wonder. What's up, guys? First day freaking back. First day back from the trip. We were out in Joplin, Missouri this week. We drove, so I guess we have a lot to talk about. We drove to Joplin for my girlfriend's competition. Then our podcast was offered a booth there. So we had the booth. We created a bunch of content for the other social medias, the other channels. And then last night we drove home and I'm running on literally like 3 hours of sleep because we got stuck in a freaking tornado. We got stuck in a tornado storm last night on our way home somewhere in either Missouri or Illinois. I don't remember where we were at. It was one of the two. I think Illinois. Illinois? Yeah. We were in Illinois. We got stuck in a tornado storm, like in the vicinity of a tornado. And yeah, we made it back alive. We are invincible. I was convinced that we were going to actually run into a physical tornado, but it didn't happen. So that's amazing. But with that being said, I'm running on just a few hours of sleep because I had to get up. I went and trained people this morning, and I have a very low tolerance for bullshit today because of my sleep. And with that being said, today's video topic, today's live topic was inspired by some bullshit comment. Just went on my iPad to go pull it up. I'm going to wait for some more people to pop in to this live, and then we'll really get it cracking. We'll really get to talking about it. When my hair is like not washed and dirty, I always get the separation up here. Tomorrow I have my live with Dr. Tyler Pansner. Getting very excited about that. Yeah, super excited about that. There's really not much else to say about that. I'm just very excited. We're going to talk about genes. We're going to talk about how they impact your health, why your dysautonomia, your POTS syndrome might be linked to or correlate with your genes or gene mutations, things of that nature. So if you guys have any questions about any of that stuff, make sure that you write it in the chat or write it in the comment section below. Because I'm gearing up. I'm getting ready. I'm writing down all questions, all comments, all concerns to have him ready and prepared. I bought an iPad and it seems to be like it's like a godsend for this stuff, for like helping me with the social media stuff and for helping me with clients and keeping things compartmentalized and organized or whatever. It's been really good. So now I'm trying to find a stand as we speak. for the live tomorrow. And I gotta see what kind of monitor this is. All right, so I think that we should get into the topic at hand, which is, do people die from POTS syndrome? Okay. I've got such a low tolerance today for BS because I am extremely tired from driving home from Missouri yesterday and getting back and then getting stuck in a tornado in Illinois and sitting there for 30 minutes to 40 minutes waiting for it to pass, waiting for the weather to be okay enough for us to drive home. I've got a very low tolerance. So I'm not going to bite my tongue today. I'm not going to try and be kind with words. I'm not going to try to be nice. I'm going to keep it I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you guys. So, W in the chat if you're listening. W in the chat if you're here and willing and ready to hear some stuff. What's up, Satsuko? Good to see you in the chat again. It's been a minute, I feel like. Well, I just haven't streamed in a week because of everything going on last week with stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and read this comment. You guys ready to read this comment? This was quite the comment, quite amazing. The person goes, some people do die from POTS because their heart stops when the vagal nerve overreacts and stops the heart. It concerns me that you are minimizing this. Okay, that's not the end of the comment. There we go. Postural, in quotes, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, POTS, is a condition that can cause an abnormal heart rate response when someone stands up. This can lead to a rapid increase in heart rate, which can trigger a drop in blood pressure that can cause fainting. The brain's response to a fast heart rate can also cause the vagal nerve to slow or to stop the heart. Oh, man, do I have so freaking much to say about this, dude. I have so much to say about this. What I want you guys to do, anybody who's viewing this right now, what I would like you to do is I would like you to actually go ahead and do a Google search really fast. Just do a quick Google search. Do people die from POTS? Just do it really fast. Write in the comments what you find, what the first response is. Write in the comments what the first response is. And then I'm going to tell you guys why this pissed me off so much. I'm going to turn on these purple lights over here. All right, I'm back. Okay. My response here was whatever the dude's or chick's screen name is, right? This is a prime example of health anxiety and looking for a reason to be concerned. There is zero data showing people die directly from POTS. A Google search will provide you with that answer. In quotes, no, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, POTS, is not usually life-threatening, and there have been no reported deaths directly caused by the disorder. Respectfully, I said then, please do not come on my page and fearmonger based on your own anxieties. We operate off of positivity and hope here, not false facts and rabbit holes that don't benefit anyone. I say this with love in hopes that you will find peace in this and make progress. And I mean that, and that's true. Now, the reason why this pisses me off, right, is because, number one, the video that this person commented on was the one where I talk about how I got POTS syndrome and how I'm not concerned. And I'm thinking that the thing that I said in this video, probably, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that this is what I said was, as far as I know, no one has died from POTS, so I'm not really that concerned. And so now this just feeds into the whole thing, the whole psychology, the psychological portion of POTS syndrome and people suffering with POTS syndrome is that so many refuse to admit that this is not a life-threatening situation, and they need a reason to be anxious. They need a reason to justify their anxieties rather than acknowledging and dealing with the anxieties. We need a reason. We need to be scared. I'm scared. It's anxiety, because anxiety is more times than not, guys, it's irrational, right? It's irrational. It comes from a place, you have trauma, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But most times anxieties are irrational, right? It's like you're scared of something that could or could not happen, something that you don't even have control over, right? And so that's where the anxiety comes from. Now, with POTS, you don't have any control over the symptoms and all these things that are happening to you. So now we need to find a reason to be scared. And that is, people can die from POTS. People can die from sharpening a pencil, dude. I'm sure somebody can probably die from sharpening a pencil. Does that mean that there's ever been one recorded death from somebody sharpening a freaking pencil? No, that doesn't mean that. So is it possible? Sure, but there is 0 recorded deaths from POTS. Let's Google it. Died from POTS syndrome. No deaths caused directly by the disorder have been reported. Manhattan Cardiology, which would lead you to one logical conclusion. Something that I have been saying for a very long time. So long as there's no other comorbidities associated with your specific disorder, with your syndrome, you are not in a life-threatening situation. And I have harped on this a million times. There are people that have POTS, that have other life-threatening comorbidities, but does that mean that the symptoms that they are having are due to POTS? Or does it mean that, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't understand how it's so hard for people to understand this. I just don't get it. Does that mean that you actually have POTS, or do you have POTS-like symptoms from the other illness or chronic disease or whatever it is that you're dealing with? If you get the flu, you have POTS-like symptoms. Does that mean that you have POTS? No, you have the flu, and some of the symptoms are manifesting in a POTS-like way. Gee, I mean, dude, I'm just not. I wasn't equipped for this today. I'll just be honest with that. It's like, dude, it's like this. I had a call with a client yesterday, and he was very, very, very right in what he said. He said that he's frustrated with the POTS community. I hope he doesn't care that I'm talking about this. Well, it's not that anybody would probably know who he is. He told me that he is frustrated with the POTS community, and rightfully so. And he says the reason why he's frustrated with it is because the majority of people with POTS literally just don't want to be positive. They don't even try. They don't even try to be positive. They don't even try to look for the light at the end of the tunnel. The other thing is that they don't even try to get better. It's like they don't actually want it. And I agree with that. The reason why, though, that I make this content, the reason why I get so frustrated with this type of bullshit is because I genuinely care. And there is a way out. And these people who want to sit and sulk in their shit, dude, I don't care what the disease is. Name one, right? Name the chronic illness. It's better to have a positive outlook and falsely believe that you can get better than it is to just be in doomsday all the time, because you will enjoy your life. You will actually enjoy your life. So regardless of whether you can actually cure your cancer or not, it's better to be of the thought that you can and you will, because that will give you more joy in your life than to just think, I'm just going to wait it out until I die. But it seems to be that all people with POTS, for the majority of people with POTS, rather, you're just waiting to die. For what? For what? No one's died from it. No one. We've already done the Google search. So now we're reaching and trying to find any reason that somebody maybe could die from POTS. Like, just live your life. Are you, like, at the end of your life, I really want to ask this question. Anybody that's watching, please answer. Or people who are watching this after it's uploaded, please answer in the comment section below. What are you going to do when you're actually on your deathbed 70 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now? Are you going to be happy with or okay with the fact that you said that you literally just waited to die and nothing happened due to your POTS syndrome? You know, your POTS syndrome. Are you going to be okay with that? And then you're dying from old age or from like literally just not moving, not doing anything to take care of your longevity. Like, it has nothing to do with POTS. It has everything to do with the fact that you didn't move. You didn't do the right things. Are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to be okay with the fact that you're dying because you didn't take care of yourself, because you were scared you were going to die from something that doesn't kill people? That's like me not going outside in Wisconsin because I'm scared that a lion in Africa is going to eat me. It doesn't make sense. It would be stupid for me to stay in the house scared that a lion's going to attack me. They don't even exist here. So you're just going to live your life in fear. Okay, whatever. Do what you got to do. Do what you must do. But for me and for the people that I train, I refuse to accept that. Trying to get better until you actually die is a better life and a better pursuit than sitting there watching Netflix, actually waiting for your death. But it also brings me to the conclusion that I've talked about a bunch of times before, is that it seems like a lot of people with POTS just want a reason. They just want a reason to not contribute to society or to not contribute in life in general. Like, it's like, oh, finally I found my out. You know, maybe they do have actual anxiety issues and they have POTS-like symptoms and they're like, finally, I got a diagnosis that's going to allow me to make these excuses. That's going to allow me to be a victim. That's going to allow me to be okay with laying in bed because I have something. Now I have something a diagnosis that I can use. I've said this a million times on this channel too. I have known people with cancer, stage 4 cancer, like actually terminally ill, like dying, that are more brave about what's going on than a lot of people with POTS. And POTS people are not dying. Like, I've met people with cancer, stage 4, going through chemo, all that stuff, that carried on with their lives, that continued to work out, that did all the right things. But you can't do it because of what reason? You know, and then the fact that this, every time that somebody comments something like this, right? Okay. POTS can cause VT, and that is lethal. Just saying, being devil's advocate here. eating too many cheeseburgers can clog your arteries. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So the point is, what are you going to do? Just live your life constantly worrying about what could happen or what might happen? Like, to say that this POTS thing, part of the reason why I'm getting so frustrated now is because I'm seeing more and more. I'm one of the people making the content on this stuff, right? And interacting with hundreds of people that have POTS. Hundreds, right? The reason why I'm now starting to get really aggravated is because I'm seeing more and more, right? I used to not rock with the doctors at all with the anxiety shit. I am rocking with them more and more and more and more. And do you guys know what the biggest problem with anxiety is when it comes to rational thought? It's non-existent. It's not there. So a lot of times you guys will think, and even me will think, no, this could be happening. This really is a rational thought. It could be happening. This is probably happening. That's your anxieties talking to you, dude. It's your anxieties talking to you. Like, it's not a rational thought just because it's a possibility. It's not a rational thought. So like when you break a leg, you can get a blood clot. Does that mean that it's going to happen? No. When you eat a cheeseburger, you could choke on it. Does that mean that it's going to happen? No. So it's like, so you have in life, you have choices and you have circumstances. You have choices, you have circumstance, you have groups of people, all these things. And different outcomes can happen through anything with all that stuff. So what do? You just don't do anything in case you're going to die? In case all these, it's ridiculous. It's all constantly reaching, this is basic. It's so basic, logical thinking, but it goes out the window. It completely goes out the window. And I get it. And I'm empathetic towards it. But again, like my conversation with my client yesterday, it's like you guys don't want to try. Yeah, but this. No, you're right, but this part, but this. You can't win. You can't win. You just can't win. You're just stuck in a cycle. You just want to be there. Something that I really suggest that you guys look into, most POTS people, I really suggest that you guys look into this. Dr. Joe Dispenza. I really suggest that you guys look into Dr. Joe Dispenza. He does a lot of, talking about neuroscience and manifestation and things of that nature, and meditation and all this stuff. And basically he talks about the way you think is the outcome that you will have. So I'm not saying that you'll manifest a blood clot because you'll manifest your heart slowing down and then you dying if you think about it so much. But what I am saying is that if you think about it, right? If you think Joe Dispenza is not a doctor. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a scientist, teacher, lecturer, and author. As a researcher, Dr. Joe explores the science doctor of chiropractic degree. Okay, whatever, right? Whatever. His doctor in front of his name, it doesn't really matter. He's done way more on all this stuff than we have and than any of us have done. He has groups of people, he has tons of data, he has tons of research. So regardless of that, regardless of whether he's a medical doctor or not, or a chiropractor or a physical therapist, it doesn't really matter because he leads a group and he's created results. But something that he talks about, and there's more than just Dr. Joe Dispenza that talks about this stuff. What you focus your mind on are the outcomes that you'll have. And I'm not saying that if you think that you're going to die because your heart rate is gonna stop because of pot syndrome, that's what's gonna happen. What I'm saying is you're focusing your mind on the negative, so the negative will be the outcome. That's the point here. It's nothing to do with like manifesting that your heart rate is actually gonna like stop beating. It has everything to do with you're focusing on the negative, so there's gonna be negative outcome. Period. If your mind is constantly on the negative, and this, again, it's not just Joe Dispenza or Dr. Joe Dispenza that talks about this. There's tons of people that talk about this. If you focus on the negative, negative outcomes will arise. So if you focus on the negative, you're going to just stay in bed and be negative. If you think happy thoughts, you're likely to do things that happy people do. Not going to lie, with third-degree heart block and POTS, I do get horrible anxiety with this stuff. My symptoms get so bad that I go into paralysis, and being paralyzed, unable to move, scares me. So what I always say, and I've said this a bunch of times, is that if you have another comorbid, if you have something else wrong with you, then it's different. The majority that I am talking to are people that just have POTS syndrome and are not diagnosed with anything else. But also what I will tell you is if all of the experts say you are fine, then you are fine. You're probably fine. There are times where you need to be your own best health advocate, right? But let me tell you this. If you've had all the MRIs, if you've had all the scans, if you've had all the CTs, if you've had all the x-rays, all that stuff, your blood work comes back great, and you're not knocking on death's door, then you're not knocking on death's door. That doesn't mean that your quality of life isn't poor and that you have other things to figure out, but it does mean that you are not knocking on death's door. People with POTS, just POTS, I'm not talking about people diagnosed with anything else, just POTS, act as if they are knocking on death's door all the time. So they'll live like that. Dude, I've talked to hundreds of POTS people at this point, hundreds. And every single one of them that lives in a negative mind frame, they have a negative life. They don't do anything. They do nothing. They sit around and they watch me all day. Instead of getting up and doing the things that I do, they sit around and watch me. And they're sad. And they're anxious. And there's nothing else wrong with them. They're not going to die, but they're scared that they're going to die. Why? Like, it's a choice to live in fear. It really is. And I would argue that a lot of you guys, like Satsuko, what you're saying is not exclusive to you, right? You go into paralysis because your symptoms get so bad, but it's like, what are the majority of people with POTS doing to improve their symptoms? Nothing. Plain and simple. They'll lie to themselves and say that they're doing a bunch of stuff. Like, I work out in my living room. Okay, that's good. That works for a while. Working out in your living room works for a while, but it doesn't work forever. And you need to figure it out. Like, and you know, things like they get paralysis. I don't know. I don't even remember where I was going with that. I get so frustrated with this stuff. Did you have PM? Post-exercise malice, I think is what you are talking about. I don't know. I have no idea. Post-exertional malaise. I've done a live where we like kind of went deep into PEM, and we really talked about it. I have my opinions on that. Post-exertional malaise is what it is, Satsuko. I think that a lot of people with POTS don't have all these other things. That's what I think. I don't think they have like 1,000 other diagnoses that they're given. I don't believe that the majority of people with POTS have chronic fatigue. I don't believe that the majority of people with POTS have PEM. I don't believe that the majority of people with POTS have, what's it called? MSAS. I don't believe that the majority of other POTS or majority of people with POTS have the MTHFR gene. I don't believe a bunch of that. I think what happens is that the quickest recap that I can give. People with POTS, dude, hopefully. Do you wanna come on live with me? And we can actually talk about this? Remember, today I'm not feeling super kind. I'm going to be totally honest and brutally honest about everything that's going on and everything that's going on in my mind. What do you mean depends on the cause? What did I say that could be depends on cause? Let me see if I can invite you in. Well, anyways, thank you for all the hard work and info. If it wasn't for this 3rd-degree heart block, I would have been up from this, I feel. Yeah, dude, of course. Hubley, HBLY, however you say your thing. What are you referring to when you say depends on cause? I don't understand what you're getting at. So I'm gonna be totally honest. Either you're contrarian for fun, or you are another one of those people that like just reaches, right? Like you're either being contrarian, and that's cool. I'm willing to have like just a philosophical debate with you. A philosophical argument. Probably not the best place for that, simply due to the fact that like I'm trying to spread like truth and not what ifs to people, right? So whatever your depends on cause thing is, I would love to address it. No, I'm a Libra. So yes, contrarian for fun. It was about MSAS, CFS, and stuff. I still don't get it. I think what happens is the majority of, and I've talked about this a million times too, POTS comes with deconditioning. That's an effect of POTS. Is deconditioning the same thing as CFS? Is deconditioning the same thing as PM? I don't think so. I think the deconditioning aspect is another thing that people want to have an answer for. They want to put a name to it rather than deconditioning and have hope that they can actually get reconditioned. In my experience, that's what I've noticed, and that's what I've seen from other people. Because I've worked with people with so-called PM, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, and it all comes back to the same thing: reconditioning the person to be able to do things that they used to be able to do before. Now, if we're going off the definition of PM, CFS, all these different things, then what I'm talking about would never happen, and it would go completely out the window. However, I think people with POTS tend to really like labels, and they tend to really like having an answer for everything that's going on in their life. So much so that the majority of POTS creators have about 5 things in their bios. The big POTS creators, the big chronic illness creators, have about like 5 different things in their bios about what they are and who they are and what they let define them, what chronic illnesses they let actually define who they are as people, and let you know whether they're a good person or not based on, do they have POTS, bipolar, anxiety, chronic fatigue, all these different things. IBS. Look, dude, health is health. If you're sick, you're gonna feel like shit. Plain and simple. I don't know why there has to be so many labels for people with POTS. Like every single person, like so many people with POTS want 100 different labels. They want an answer for everything instead of like, I feel like shit. How do I fix it? Dude, the answers are so simple. Like most answers in life are right in front of your face. You just don't want to deal with it. Most of the answers for everything in life are right in front of your face. You just don't want to deal with it. POTS, you're deconditioned. Okay, get more conditioned. How do you do that? It looks different for everybody. Figure it out. How do we figure that out? Get somebody who knows better than you do or who has worked with people like, in the population or find a program that works. Chops, me, whoever. You want to make more money? It's pretty freaking simple. Work harder, work longer, or find something that's super niche that you can get yourself into. That's how you make money. Do you want to like get fit if you're a healthy person? Okay, that's pretty easy too. Most things are right in front of your face. The people with pots, problem is that a majority of them, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I've talked to hundreds of them. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do the work. So what do? Bitch and complain about the doctors. We're the victims. Wait until we get a diagnosis. Now we have a diagnosis. We don't have to do shit now. Like, dude, the likelihood that you have POTS and you're going to die from something with POTS is so freaking small. It's not that it couldn't happen. Anything can happen. You could pass out because you have POTS, hit your head on concrete, and then die. But the likelihood is so small, it's not even worth the time of day. It's not even worth a millisecond of your day to think about it. This other stuff too, PEM and CFS and all this shit, you already know with POTS you get deconditioned and it feels like crap. Why is it even worth the other stuff? Why is your time worth the other stuff? Or why is the other stuff worth your time? I'll be honest with you. This world is just super pussy and people just want reasons. Like, instead of doing the work. Straight up. This world is too pussy. Nobody wants to do the work. Nobody wants to face their fears. Nobody wants to get uncomfortable. Nobody wants to feel like shit to get better. It's crazy, dude. We live in a clown world. You had POTS, post-COVID POTS clients? Yep. Quite a few, actually. Quite a few. Yeah, I've got quite a few post-COVID POTS clients. I think a lot of my clients, I think at this point, speculate that COVID or the jab gave them their POTS. A lot of them speculate that. I think I'm done getting mad now today. I've gotten mad enough. Jazand, what's up? Hey, I'm late. I got sick. Do I exercise still? No, I would say you rest. I think that's kind of dependent on like what kind of illness you got. If I have like a little bit of a cold or something, I will I'll still exercise, but I'll do something very light. I probably would like hop on an exercise bike or something or go for walks. I would do stuff like that. But I wouldn't like do any intense exercise or even near intense exercise. Hubbly, you believe it's just deconditioning? What part? You're welcome, Jazand. You are welcome. I think that different people have different tolerances for stuff, but like, what's it called? Knowing a little bit about you, it's probably not a good idea to work out at least super hard. Get your steps in for sure. I think that no matter how sick you are, for the most part, you can get your steps in. That's just me though. Probably because you said you think it's caused by COVID jab. You said they think it's caused by COVID jab. Um, yeah, this is like a tough question to answer because there's a couple things, right? Because obviously there is a level of deconditioning to it. But I think that also, if you're talking about things like long COVID, and you probably get long COVID from the jab too. I don't know that it's just deconditioning or if it's like the body's inability to actually clear the virus. And that's not something that I'm an expert in. I'm not going to act like I am. But in my experience, a lot of people get better the more conditioned that they get, regardless of where their POTS came from. I haven't had one person that hasn't gotten better just from like restructuring their conditioning protocol and getting reconditioned. So I think though that sometimes it does take longer because I believe that with the long COVID thing, and there are protocols coming out now for long COVID, but there's not a lot of data on it. So I don't know, from what I understand. So I don't know if people are like having trouble clearing the virus or something, or if something's really happening to the mRNA or the RNA in somebody's body, whatever. That would be a really good question for tomorrow's live with Dr. Tyler Pansner. I'm going live with Dr. Tyler Pansner tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. He's trained in pharmacology, but he does a lot of like holistic genetic optimization. So he's really big into like gene mutations and stuff like that. He probably knows a lot more than I know about anything related to COVID and that. But in my experience with the people that I work with, they always get better with reconditioning. Jazan, do you know more about the effect of exercise on blood volume? I need more than it just helps. Yes. I mean, that's a interesting question because I could take that so many different ways. Like blood volume and the way that blood circulation, like the way that your blood circulates through your body due to higher blood volumes, has a lot of effects on nutrient partitioning, recovery of muscles. There's a lot there. So I guess what specifically do you want to know? There's a lot of things there. Are you in the kitchen? Oh. I'm also updating client programs while I'm on live with you guys. How does exercise make for more blood volume? Tricky question. Kind of. Increased muscle mass, the increased cardiac output via your heart as a pump. I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest with you. How does exercise make for more blood volume? How can I answer it in a different way? Can I answer it in like why the increase in blood volume helps symptoms, depending on symptoms? Okay. All right. Cool. I actually have something on this, so hold on. Increased ejection fraction. I thought you said something completely different. Okay, so when you have more, basically, when you have more muscle mass, one of the reasons why I why I focus so much on increasing your cardiovascular fitness first, right, is because I want people to be able to obviously have increase in their aerobic fitness, because that increases your VO2 max, right? And also it gets blood circulating through the body. Then the next step that I have people do is I want them to be doing some sort of calisthenics and then doing some sort of weightlifting so that we can increase muscle mass. Why do we want to increase muscle mass? The reason why we want to increase muscle mass, number one, the effect of doing what it takes to increase muscle mass via weight training, calisthenics, muscle contraction, anything that requires lengthening and shortening the muscle in some sort of intensity that actually, like, you know, obviously not picking up a water bottle or something. You guys know that. But like lifting weights, right, requires that your heart moves as a pump, so that it increases blood flow to the extremities, from core to extremity, right? And so what this does is it just kind of helps your body make the adaptation for the circulatory system to be working properly. So a lot of people's symptoms when they have POTS is like they get dizzy or they black out, they see stars, things of that nature. So if you can increase muscle mass and increase the amount of blood that actually has to circulate through your body, this tends to go down a little bit more. There's a reason why when you are going through like a blackout or something, when you go from sitting to standing or laying down to standing and you see stars and all this stuff, the blood's not going to your head. So there's a reason why they tell you to squeeze your stomach really tight like that, like to flex it as if somebody's going to punch you. Because what that does is it moves the blood from core to extremity. So when you have more muscle mass, your heart is actually required to pump more blood more frequently and more efficiently. Does that kind of answer the question? I'll look at the stream again in 1 second. Day 2. It does not. That's okay. It was still interesting. Maybe a question for tomorrow. I'm sorry. If you're here on the stream too, if you came late, I had 3 hours of sleep last night. We got stuck in a tornado, so my brain's not functioning that great. We drove from Missouri back to Wisconsin last night. We didn't get home until like 3 a.m. Didn't get to bed till like 3:45, and then I had to work. So running off of like 3 hours of sleep. So my apologies if I'm lacking on the advice and the content today. I think that the answer to your question would be like way too in depth scientifically that like I wouldn't even be able to myself talk about it either without like having to explain all the language, and I might not even understand all the language if I'm being honest, and I don't think most people reading it would understand the language either, because I actually just did a Google search, and why blood volume increases is not like it's not a simple answer. There's a bunch of mechanisms for it, and I don't even think that a lot of people would even know what the anatomy is here. So yeah, because like one of the lines, just to give you, expansion of blood volume has been well documented in both cross-sectional and longitudinal studies as a consequence of endurance exercise training. Plasma volume expansion can account for nearly all of the exercise-induced hypervolemia up to 2 to 4 weeks. After this time, expansion may be distributed equally between plasma and red cell volumes. The exercise stimulus for hypervolemia has both thermal and non-thermal components that increase total circulating plasma levels of electrolytes and protein. Yeah, so there's a lot here. I think the question that you're asking is like very complex and very like scientific, and I don't think the majority of us even know the terminology. Wow, tornado sounds so scary. Is everything okay where you are? Yes, everything is okay. It was a little bit scary. It was in a different state. Do you not get tornadoes, Jazan, out there in the Netherlands? I read that. What is this swallowing thing that people are talking about? Anyone else have difficulty swallowing with POTS? Might be unrelated. I've heard that a lot. I did too for a while. Fatima Jamoom, hey, just wanted to say the work you do is amazing. It's refreshingly positive. I appreciate you, Fatima. Thank you. I read that swallowing issues can come from an unstable neck, and that can also aggravate POTS. Yep. Where did I find that, Jazan? I think it's PubMed. Yeah. PubMed, NCBI. Here. Copy and paste it. One thing that I really try to stay away from. No tornadoes here, no. Haha. We've had floods before I was born. I live below sea level. You're lucky, dude. You are very lucky. Barrel caused lots of tornadoes here in Texas. Yeah, you guys just got hit with a hurricane, huh? Are you good? Yes, we didn't get hit as bad as other areas did. Good. Yeah, that would be rough. Glad to hear that you're okay. Weather has been weird lately, man. This year is a little scary. Houston was without power for a while. Yeah, I bet. But it was. So one thing that I was saying before, or the thing that I was saying before that I try to stay away from, I try to like really stick to what I know and not try to dump into the weeds about a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't know. So a lot of this like scientific jargon, I'm more versed on actual like exercise phys more so than I am with like exercise phys programming, things of that nature, like strength and conditioning, than I am in terms of like the mechanisms of like medical stuff basically, right? So I won't like sit here and pretend to know things that I don't know. I'll talk about things that I do know, but I'm not going to be the guy commenting no hate Hubley, but like saying the reason is increased ejection fraction. I won't say that, because like I don't know what that means. So I'm not going to say that because it sounds good and not be able to explain it and get myself caught up and look like a fraud, right? I'll tell you, blood volume increases due to exercise. The exact mechanisms, I don't know. And I don't think the majority of people here know what the exact mechanisms are either or why. We just know that it's an effect of exercise. So I'll tell people that. I'll tell people you want increased blood volume. You can do that via hydration. You can do it via exercise. It helps because of certain reasons, but why does it help? Why does it happen? I don't know the mechanisms. I'm not going to get in the weeds of it. I think it's kind of irrelevant for me. I just know that it needs to happen. So how do you help with the swallowing issues? Like, are there? Oh, Jazan, I love that you stay where you know your stuff. Thanks. Don't want to be a fraud. The internet's too spicy for that. So how do you help with the swallowing issues? Like, are there neck exercises? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. The hard part is this, is like, I don't know where to take this. I don't know where to take that. It's like people with POTS tend to have so many issues. It just seems that they have the propensity or the predisposition to have a lot of issues. And what I've noticed is that just doing the things to get better improves everything. I'm not really sure why, and there could be a host of reasons, right? What I will say is this. The neck thing is really interesting because I've had 2 to 3 neck injuries in the past 2 years. Like 2 bad neck injuries, 1 injury. So it is kind of interesting. But my injury could definitely not be an effect of POTS, and it could be of the amount of stress that I've put on my body. Now, is there something to be said that maybe POTS puts me at a higher risk? Because I've noticed that people who have POTS have the tendency to get injured more frequently. And so maybe it has something to do with like people with POTS have a certain gene mutation. We'll talk about this with Dr. Tyler Panzer. They don't produce as much collagen or something like that. I don't know. We'll talk about that tomorrow because that is something that I want to ask about. But yeah. Yes, you can look up unstable cervical something. I'm doing the exercise with a physio since the diagnosis is hard to get. You can just try them and see what happens. I use something called the iron neck, if anybody knows what that is. One 21 guns. The Iron Neck does have a program, but basically it's this funny looking helmet thing that you put on your head, and it's got like a swivel, so it goes 360 degrees around the helmet, and then you hook up a band, like a resistance band, on like a rig or like in a door jamb or something like that, and you connect it so you get resistance on your neck, and you do things like this, like what are they called? Like cervical retractions. It's basically like doing planks for your neck with resistance, and then you can do things like, you know, this type of stuff. Yeah, chin tucks or cervical retraction, however you want to see it. PNC stuff, you know. Is it PNC? God, dude, my brain is not working today. I have it all in my program. Hold on. Cervical traction, which is like, cervical tractions are really good. It's, you would put a band on a rig or wherever you can, and then you basically like put it on the backside of your head on this round part, and let it like pull your neck. So it's like a distraction technique for your neck. Cervical retractions, a DNF chin tuck. Those are really freaking hard. DNF chin tucks are super hard. They're really good if you're doing them right. And then a lot of stuff for like neck support too is getting your thoracic spine strong, like your thoracic like muscles, your rhomboids, your traps, things like that. Getting those really strong will help with the stability of your neck as well. But I think that a lot of people in general are under training the actual neck muscles, because your neck does, what's it called? Go through flexion and extension as well. You know, and there's different ways. Like obviously you can rotate your neck, you can do side to side, you can go back and forth. Yeah. The body weight version of moving in a chin tuck, like laying down, that would be a DNF chin tuck. So like prone Supermans can be okay. Prone swimmers can be okay. Yeah, Jazan, that's a really good exercise. The DNF chin tuck is freaking hard. It's freaking hard. Hold that for 10 seconds and tell, if you're doing it right. A lot of people don't do it right, but hold it for 10 seconds and tell me it doesn't freaking hurt. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. I was looking up next exercises in YouTube this week. Thank you guys for the info. Yep. With the instability, you can also have issues with feeling how you hold your neck, so it's even more important that an extra person monitors your posture during the exercise for the first time at least. Yeah, that's actually true. That's true. With neck exercises, right? Like a chin tuck, they want you to really create a double chin. But the cue that you hear a lot of times is make your neck long. So what a lot of people do instead of like doing this, right, for the chin tuck, is they'll go like this. They'll go like that instead. So it is actually super important that you have somebody watch those exercises first before you go off and do them on your own. I'm gonna go to the bathroom quick. Roderick said he's 99% yes going. So there's 1% he's not going to go. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off of this soon. What do you guys want me to ask Dr. Tyler Panzer tomorrow? He's a genetics specialist, trained in pharmacology, focuses a lot on holistic wellness through supplementation and lifestyle intervention. He does a lot of stuff with like histamine intolerance, gene mutations, again, supplements, and lifestyle optimization. What do you guys want to know? What do you want to hear? I've got a bunch of questions already from our POTS community that you can join in the link in description. Matt Stell activation. I already have that down. Try to think though of this as like he's not just going to answer directly about POTS, right? Like try to think holistically about what the live is about tomorrow. It's about more than just POTS syndrome, right? Adrenal insufficiencies. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for you guys. Microclots? What about microclots? What would you like to know about them? And Satsuko, what exactly about adrenal insufficiency? What do you want to know about that? I have like an hour to an hour and a half with him. Oh yeah, the freaking. I don't mean to be rude or a dick, but can you guys like actually like ask a question instead of just putting down, like that? Because if you want something specific, or if you want like a question answered or something, like give it to me, because I have stuff that I'm already going to talk to him about. I have stuff that I'm already going to talk to him about. So you guys got to get specific if you want me to ask a specific question. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to get your question answered. Or I might not even ask it. Could adrenal issues cause POTS issues? That's something that I'm actually planning on asking about already with COMT, stuff like that. Love it. Any other questions? Yeah, Jazan, I already put down your questions. Satsuko, I don't know if he'd be able to answer that. He's not. So, real quick, I want you guys to know he's not a POTS specialist, right? He doesn't specialize with POTS. He knows about POTS, but we don't have to get very specific on POTS for this to be like an informative type of thing for you guys. We don't have to get like hyper specific about POTS, because a lot of, at least from what I've noticed, a lot of this like all kind of coincides holistically together, right? Like good health, the autonomic nervous system. Think about things like that, like autonomic nervous system and making it function properly, and what supplements could help, or like what kind of blood testing should you get, like things like that are things that I'm going to ask for sure. But I don't know if, he's not going to be able to give anybody protocols on like how should somebody with lupus handle POTS or something like that, unfortunately. He's not everyone's like, he can't give out specific medical advice is basically what I'm saying, because he could get sued. Cool. I'm excited for the interview. Yeah, me too. I'm super pumped. I know I don't seem super pumped right now, but I'm just so freaking tired. I haven't been this tired in probably years. But I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I actually worked with this guy. Long, something like that. I actually hired him to be my to be like one of my primary carers or something like. I don't even know what you'd say. I hired him to do my testing, my lab testing, my genetics testing, and then he gave me a protocol to use. And he's just such a wealth of information that I think it's like very. You guys will get a lot out of this, regardless of whether we talk about POTS or not. We're going to talk about POTS, obviously. But I'm going to not just focus on POTS, because I think that there's a lot of things outside of just focusing on POTS that you guys will be able to gain insight from. Like, I'm going to talk to him about the MTHFR gene, right? Like the MTHFR mutations, COMT, and all these different ones that got really popular. I'll talk to him about Gary Brecka. I'll talk to him about personal development, stuff like that, because a lot of this stuff, like the MTHFR gene mutation, is like super hyped up right now. Like, everyone with POTS thinks that they have it. Everyone thinks that, they have like folic acid overload and stuff. And I want to talk to him about that. I've noticed a lot of things with the traits of COMT, the COMT variant. I've noticed a lot of things specifically for people with POTS with that. And so, yeah, I think that this will be a really good conversation. You guys will get a lot out of this, because it could be that this is like a little insight to how I think about this. It could be that I think that a lot of this has to do with certain gene mutations rather than a diagnosis of POTS. Or you have POTS, but you have some gene mutations, and you can alleviate some of the symptoms based on certain lifestyle adjustments and stuff, which is something that we talk about all the time. Hubley, I tried Gary Brecka protocol, LOL. There's nothing wrong with Gary Brecka's protocol. I just think that he's kind of a scam artist, in the sense that, like, he acts like he's the first person that has talked about this stuff. But this guy is the first person that talked about all this stuff. Dr. Ben Lynch. This is the guy that talked about all this stuff in the beginning. And so Gary Brecka just comes out of the woodwork with hella funding, like millions of dollars of funding. Because of what's that dude's name? Oh my gosh, the Scientologist real estate guy. What's his freaking name, dude? Grant Cardone. And that's basically how he got popularized and famous. And a lot of the stuff that, Gary Brecka recommends can be attributed to, like, just people losing weight and stopping eating the bullshit and stuff. But one thing that I really want to talk to Dr. Tyler Pansner about is, like, so what do you do for somebody who is doing all of the right things already lifestyle wise? Like, what could be the issues then? Because that's something that I don't see addressed a lot by a lot of these health podcasts and people who, like, talk about chronic illness and stuff. Is like, okay, so what if you're the person that, we'll take POTS or depression or something, for example, right? What if you're the person that does all the lifestyle stuff, that does all the right things, right? You do sauna, you eat well, you hydrate well, you do a good sleep cycle, all this stuff, and things just aren't working. What if you are that person that does all that stuff? Now what do you do? Like, I think that's really interesting. And I don't really see many people talk about that. Oh my gosh. Your boy is going to go to bed early tonight, fam. That's a fact. Oh, that is a fact. 1:31. 1 hour and 31 minutes in. All right, guys, I'm going to get off of this now. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you comment in the description. If you guys have any questions for tomorrow, make sure that you comment on this video. Like, subscribe if you are new. Thanks so much for watching. 1:30 tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, CST. That's when I go live with Dr. Tyler Pansner. I'm excited for y'all to join in on this. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, go ahead, hit that link in the description. Hit that 1 free week trial of our POTS community and workout program. We'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.